adding locations. Like I said, there's no limit on adding locations. I can add as many as I want. Once I'm getting those locations in is where this magic is really happening of the connected cases. So what that looks like here is as I've added in locations, those notifications are going to start pending and sending out based on whether it's a priority case or not. There's several different types of emails, which we'll get into throughout this journey. So for my example here, if I've created a case within this zip code and that zip code is matched within, or that location, that latitude and longitude is made within that 5-mile radius of the case location, that's going to make that connection. I'm within that radius, I'll be connected and I'll be notified. If I'm not within that radius, I won't be connected, obviously. Or if that radius shrinks later on, maybe it's a 25-mile radius in Milwaukee that shrinks down to 1 mile, I will also be taken out of those notifications or out of that connection as that set radius is changed from the law enforcement side. So before I get into all this detail, I'll show you what this looks like here. I entered in, 4 different locations. 3 is what I was looking for, but I put this New York piece in. Why don't we just remove this? I can show you the delete. All that looks like is I select that record, I click delete, it's gone. I'm not going to be associated to any of those cases in that New York area. What I want is the Wisconsin, Wyoming, and Florida areas. What I just talked through, though, is as I've added those locations, as long as there are cases out there pending and live, now when I go to my connected cases, I will see those that I connected to. So you saw previously, there were no cases in here. I wasn't connected to anything. As I put in my Florida location and my Wyoming location, these came live. I'm now connected to them. Now, let me jump. This is where I'm going to jump to a law enforcement side here for a second. If you don't have this open, don't feel panicked. Don't feel like you need to rush. You can do this later on. What I have open here, though, is the Milwaukee case that I worked on earlier this week from the law enforcement side. What you'll notice, this status is in progress. This wouldn't have been on the cases. It didn't show in my cases, even though my citizen had a Milwaukee location. That's because this was still in progress. This wasn't ready to go for citizens. But as I change the status over to approved and I submit this, this is going to be what triggers that to go live on the site, send out any notifications, or trigger a notification for a nightly notification. We'll get into the different emails. There's a couple that can go out. But this is what's actually posting that online for the citizens to review. So now if I give this a refresh, and it might take 1 or 2, but if we give enough time here, what you're going to see is there's going to be a new case card that shows up here because I had a location within Milwaukee. I fell within the radius of that case, and now I'm going to be connected to it after it was posted on the law enforcement side.
And real quick, just so you guys are worried about, this is a development environment, so it's not going to operate as efficiently as our production environment. So if it's a little slow, don't make any assumptions on how the main site would work. This is slow by design because we're not pouring the same kind of resources into it as we do our production environment. And I was trying to stretch it out for you, Jake, hoping the screen would appear, but apparently...
That's okay. Let's see.
There we go.
Get myself back in. There we go. Thank you. So as you can see, refreshed itself. I reforced that fresh. It's a development. Like you said, that would be pretty much real time as these updates are being made and being pushed. But what you're seeing is this third card was not here before. Now it is, because on my side for locations, I had this Milwaukee address that fell within that radius. And what I just showed you as I submitted it on the law enforcement side is what really brought those two together. So that's how those connections are being made. They work both ways as I add locations and cases already out there, or as I'm adding case locations in citizen, or as I'm adding cases in citizen locations are already there. They're working both ways. Go ahead.
And correct me if I'm wrong. You might, the email notification may be delayed because it's a batch email, but the card will show up right away. So if you have a connection to a case after you put in updates, the cards are going to populate right away, and then you will get emails later. Now, the reason why too is that you may put a case in there. There may be an instant connection, and that you'll get an email just confirming that, or that case sits there, and as law enforcement adds even more locations that overlap with yours, then you'll get the case card will stay there. But if you match to another location in that case, you'll get an email about that. But the first time, the case card will populate before the email telling you of it arrives. Is that correct, Jake?
Correct. Yeah, that's point two here that starts getting into emails. I've got this explanation and I have screenshots. So this is where things can get confusing. So if there's questions out in the group, I guarantee you're not the only one. If we need more clarification, let's spend some time on this so this makes sense. But to what Morgan was just saying, if a case is connected and it's a priority case, you could see that card show up and receive an immediate email because it's a tier 1 priority case. If it's not, it falls in that to the 2B. Those emails are sent out at 6 a.m. Eastern time. Those are going to have all of your previously connected cases that happened within those last 24 hours. So that is what Morgan was just clarifying. I might see the card, that Milwaukee case card that popped up, but I might not get an email right away if it's not a priority case. I'm not going to receive that until actually the next morning in my inbox. Doesn't mean that I couldn't see it in the site if I'm actively using the site. I could go and see those connections at any point in time. I'm just not going to receive the email if it's not a priority until the next day. If it is a priority, which the Milwaukee case actually was, then when those connections are made, you would receive the immediate email and you're going to receive that nightly batch email that is just a summary of all the items that happened in the previous day. So that was a lot, but I'm going to talk through these each individually. There's 3 separate emails and pieces that can happen here. So I'll talk through each of these by themselves. The first one, email 1, you can see the content and copy here of what they're seeing as a citizen. These are those priority cases. Those are being sent immediately. What is a priority case? Those are these ones with a star. If you remember from the law enforcement side, there was a priority tier 1 that you could say yes or no to. If you're making it a priority case, it's putting these stars on it, and it is also treating it as an immediate notification that is sent out as the connection is made. It's not waiting, potentially 24 hours. It's being sent immediately as the connection. So 2 things here. When is this one getting sent? The priority email here, the immediate notification. It is one-sided right now. So as law enforcement makes a case a priority, so the case could be existing and they're going to change the priority from not priority to a high priority, that will trigger notifications to anyone that has a location to that case. Or as they add a new case. So I'm a law enforcement agency, I'm coming in, I create a new case, I made it priority right away, and I submitted it. That is another time that it will send out these notifications. What to keep in mind here is it doesn't necessarily consider it the other way. You could keep a case as priority for months, years at a time. And so what this is doing is that as a new citizen location comes in and connects to it, it's not always going to immediately notify them. It's notifying them right up front as the case is either changed to a priority or was created as one, but it doesn't just keep up as time goes on. As months and years go by, it's not going to continuously send out immediate notifications. And that was on purpose because point 2 here is it will still be handled in that daily summary email. So as a citizen is entering in their locations and they're connecting to priority cases or non, they're all included in these emails. So as I said, email 2 and email 3 are very much similar. There is one change, and it is who made an update in the location or in the case. The first one is that the citizen made a change. So as the citizen logged in, I added locations or I changed my locations, whatever the case might be. And because of that, it resulted in me connecting to new cases. So if I made these updates yesterday, I would see this in my inbox early in the morning to say I added a Wyoming location, a Milwaukee location, and I connected to these cases because of that. What I have highlighted in green there is signifying that we've identified cases that matched because I, the citizen, added or updated locations. Verse email 3 looks a little bit different. You're seeing in the green, a law enforcement agency actually made an update to a case, and I had a location connected to that. And so I'm being updated because something was updated in the case, and I should go take a peek at it. So it is possible to receive all 3. I could have gotten a priority case, and then the next day I could have been notified of both connections that I made and changes to cases that were made from the law enforcement agency. That's unlikely to receive up to 3 emails every day. You're likely going to receive 1 or maybe 2 that you're seeing on the screen, but you could get, like I said, the priority and the 2 summary emails all in one. I'm going to stop there because that's a lot, and I don't know if Morgan, there's anything else you want to add to that for clarity.
No, it's gonna be like anything else. When somebody goes in and adds some locations, they may get some notifications, though they may not. It may sit there for a while. So just, part of the messaging to people is that, look, just be patient. As we build this out, you will get notifications. There will be cases you have a connection to. And that's why it's important to go back in and add, where have you lived? Where have you gone to school? As we saw this week, locations next to a school are critically important as well. And that's one of the things I was talking to Johnny about too, is in the future, the ability to provide layers to show where all schools are and instantly create a radius around those and trigger a notification in case somebody has a connection to that school. So again, just location, location, location.
I will point out, because we're in development, you guys are testing in development, these emails are not sending out right now. Don't expect these. You're not going to get them into your inbox. As we go forward, and as we're going live here, we will have an actual test environment for smaller groups like you to work out of, and emails can trigger and send out of there, and we can do it another way in production. I won't get into all the details, but to be able to actually test these, you're going to be limited to right now. We'll get to a point where you can actually fully test these, get these notifications, and see what that looks like as you're connecting different pieces. But just know you're not doing anything wrong if you're not getting emails and having these in your inbox today.
Hey, Jake, when we do the test environment, once we do this, part of the plan, folks, is the test environment will be an exact duplicate of the production environment. So it'll be a place to where we can go in and train and do things. But in the test environment, will it trigger emails with example cases or no?
We can look into it. I think there is a way for us to trigger them out and actually send, but if it's not, we can talk through it because this is obviously a big piece that we want people to receive and see.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? I'll give another pause here to see if anyone else is brave enough to raise a hand or ask questions on these notifications, or even improvements or pieces that you could see otherwise. There is time. But if you don't want to share it now, there's also going to be time for Q&A and discussion at the end. I'm not seeing anyone hopping on the opportunity, and that is okay.
Silence is consent.
Awesome. Okay. Journey 5 then, reviewing the actual case. Up until this point, I have added my locations. I've been connected to some of those cases, and now I'm actually going to go in and review them. I'll back up here. You will see in these emails, I don't necessarily have to go directly back to the portal to take action on these. Each of these cases will have a read more, and where that read more is taking me is to the case itself. I can review more of the details. Obviously, I can see the description here, but in order to see any more of the information and really the whole case build out and leave a tip, I'm going to go into the read more.